Empires of the Undergrowth is just full released, sealing the deal that we now have all of the lore the game has to offer. With the addition of the final Formicarium challenge, there's a lot to take in involving the secrets of models, the Ereptors, and the scientists. Some are more sinister than others. Today, I'll be diving into the Empires of the Undergrowth, Iceberg, and discussing many of the mysterious content points in the game, ranging from the more innocent ones, all the way to the darkest and most mysterious lore. Enjoy the video. Starting with the sky is the Myrmica Ereptor. This is a rare Ereptor worker skin that was given to the Empires of the Undergrowth's backers as a special thank you. Functioning identically to Ereptor workers, there isn't much special about them other than a unique appearance. The underground texture in some loading screens, as well as some extra levels, is the old underground texture for the Formicariums, as well as the levels New Home, Subjugation, Rising Tide, and Queen of the Hill. These were later replaced by unique underground textures for each level. The trowel is what Scientist 2 uses to move our colony every time we rehouse. It accompanies our journey all the way to the final Formicarium challenge, where it is rusted and in poor condition after the passing of time. Personally, I felt a bit sentimental over this. Now, we move to the surface. The counterpart skull is what seems to be a Homo sapiens skull in the counterpart colony during Formicarium Challenge 3. There is some speculation about what the skull belonged to or why it's there, but often the conclusion to Scientist 2's twisted decoration is drawn. The big-headed ant supermajors in Cold Blood are an interesting topic, as in real life this doesn't happen. And being a documentary level, things should be as realistic as possible. In the real world, the supermajors are a thing of the past. In the documentary level Rising Tide, the player starts with 3 black ant workers despite controlling a wood ant colony. This is because the wood ant queen that founded the colony assassinated the black ant queen, covered herself in pheromones, and assumed control over the black ant workers until she could raise her own brood. In real life, wood ant queens do this as well. The tip of the iceberg always pales in comparison to what lies beneath the water, so with that, let's move on to the underwater portion. The wolf spider is a rare case of a creature that only appears in extra levels, in this case hibernation. Merely a reskinned wolf spider, it serves a similar purpose of being a pain in the ass. Often it's discussed how other creatures could also be retextured, or if the spider could have served a different role being a different model. The tarantula is a creature that was hinted at during Formicarium Challenge 4, but never implemented into the game. Despite this, Scientist 2 does fuse one with the Great Blue Skimmer to create the Gargantula, leaving the player puzzled at when they would end up fighting this beast, as unlike all the other creatures used to create the hybrids, the tarantula is nowhere to be found. The old Black Ant Queen model was regarded as a black blob of meat, and it was obvious that it needed to be replaced. This is the old Black Ant Queen model. Even the Black Ant corpses in Rising Tide were replaced with the newer model. The old fish model was a meme in the community, being something that simply didn't fit the game's aesthetic. This fish was also stolen by a certain mobile game that attempted to feed off Slug Disco's hard work, but they failed to realize that this was a placeholder. Going even deeper into the water brings us to the lower iceberg, where the mysteries grow more sinister. Uber creatures are fictional but mysterious. Only located in some extra levels, they represent incredibly powerful creatures that, unlike titans, can enter ant nests and termite mounds. They all attack incredibly fast, move incredibly quickly, and sport insanely high health pools. In addition to this, they are all larger than their normal counterparts and glow a certain color. There is no lore explanation of how these creatures came to be, only the destruction they reap and the armies of ants they level. While Tier 4 was being worked on, the lead developer of Empires of the Undergrowth accidentally leaked the ant species, as well as the termites.
And I'll make some...
Ladies and gentlemen, we got him.
This went down in history as a large meme, and was definitely a hot topic for a while after it happened. In the New Year's Feast season level, the final boss is a neon beast. Many have speculated that it closely resembles a red newt from the level A Bridge Too Far, but any similarities are purely coincidental, right? The counterpart colony is a key plot point in the lore. After being delivered, the protagonist Ereptors are set to battle against the counterparts to the death. The origin of the counterparts is unknown. Potentially, they could have been a past experiment or shipped in from another laboratory. Either way, it highlights the fact that royal jelly was used on more than just the Ereptors in the past. Now, we reach the bottom of the iceberg, diving into much more important plot points. Scientist 2 is what some might consider the main character in Empires of the Undergrowth. The game starts off portraying him as a mischievous scientist who likes to disobey the orders of his supervisor, and takes a sharp turn during Formicarium Challenge 3 when he does things like smite the player with his hand. In Formicarium Challenge 4, he engineers hybrids, while really showing us his crazy side, and in Formicarium Challenge 5, well, he sacrifices everything for the good of the colony. While many state that he is crazy and want to destroy us, it's obvious that without Scientist 2, we would have been destroyed. He was the one who protected us from Scientist 1, who wanted to, and I quote, purge the Formicarium. And he was the one who ensured the survival of the colony by releasing us after the events of Formicarium Challenge 5. I personally consider Scientist 2 to fill both the roles of the protagonist and the antagonist. The hybrids are monstrosities put together by Scientist 2 during the events of Formicarium Challenge 4. Due to audio cues, we can identify that he is quite literally piecing these creatures together with buzzsaws.
After all, our work with the counterparts barely scratched the surface. Even on incompatible subjects, the effects of the jelly are remarkable. It may not look very pretty, nor indeed live longer than a day, but for our purposes, it's perfect. May I present to you my most armored hybrid, the Hermit Scorpion?
We can hear the cries of bugs as he's fusing them with the power of royal jelly. His hasty work leaves them in poor condition and with a very short lifespan, quoted directly from him. The hybrids show the player the potential of royal jelly and what it can do to a creature if poorly administered, leading us into our next topic. Royal jelly is, in the scenario of the game, a fictional substance. It has properties to alter the DNA of creatures and bind them with other life forms. In the Ereptor colony, it allows the queen to give birth to multiple genus of brood, including her own Ereptors, black ants, wood ants, leafcutters, fire ants, and Matabili ants. In Formicarium Challenge 5, we are given access to pure, unrefined jelly, suggesting that we were given access to refined jelly to become genetically modified ants we are. Also stated in Challenge 5 is that the ants might experience toxic neoplasms spreading through the colony, wiping them all out. Neoplasms are essentially cancer, and this supports the theory that the hybrids in Challenge 4 were hastily put together with unrefined jelly, and then would die to some form of cancer the following day. Finally, we have the Abyss. The darkest and most sinister secrets and empires of the Undergrowth lie here, shrouded in mystery. The illegible documents are a series of documents scattered all throughout the game. They are quite significantly blurred, rendering them almost unreadable. This one appears to have scripts of the game, constantly repeating _EOTU 5 by 5. This one appears to be a slightly altered map of the surface Rising Tide. This document reads castes and then workers, soldiers, queen, and male. It also reads specialists towards the bottom of the page. On this document, it displays the Slug Disco logo as well as what could be developer names above. Hidden beneath the Formicarium after Formicarium Challenge 4, a document reads a basic gameplay idea followed with a simple UI approach. Another document hidden under the Formicarium is a concept for what appears to be Queen of the Hill. It isn't a crazy theory to suggest that these are merely concepts of levels before they came into fruition, but it will forever beg the question, could there be a dark secret hidden in these documents? The project is what the scientists refer to as the experiments on the Ereptors. It begs the question of who is behind these experiments, what corporation is behind the project, and what do they seek to gain from this? It's not far-fetched to assume they are testing the effects of jelly on something as insignificant as ants, only with the goal of assimilating it in something like humans. Island 221 was the original concept for Empires of the Undergrowth. The Ereptors would be placed on a fictional island with more than a dozen ant species, and it would one by one conquer them all, adding their species to the Ereptor colony until it ruled the island. An interesting idea, but scrapped in favor of the project and scientist questline. The past failed Ereptor colonies tied in with the food drops in Formicarium Challenge 1 and 2 is quite possibly the most sinister theory in Empires of the Undergrowth. The reason Scientist 2 is so aggressive with his methods in Formicarium Challenges 1 through 3, while also being so unlenient like he is in FC 4 and 5, is because after the events of Formicarium Challenge 1, 2, or 3, Scientist 2 would be left with another choice. For example, after Formicarium Challenge 1 or 2, he suggests our colony was weak, and that they should start again with a new Ereptor Queen. In Formicarium Challenge 3, the scientist suggests that the counterpart colony would prove to be a superior specimen. This indicates that he has room to be careless with the first 3 Formicarium Challenges, as he always has a way out. The only help we receive is food drops in Formicarium Challenges 1 to 2, but this is due to the colony being so young, or maybe the scientist learning from past mistakes. In Formicarium Challenge 3, we do not receive any help from the scientist, quite the opposite. In Formicarium Challenges 4 and 5, the scientist presents us with trials to encourage adaptation, but doesn't directly dissuade our colony, and in fact, goes to great lengths to conceal and protect us, as he is locked in with our Ereptor colony and knows that there is no turning back. In the last 2 Formicarium Challenges, it's do or die. He'd rather sacrifice his workspace, his job, and even his humanity to protect the Ereptors. Does this suggest that there were past Ereptor colonies that the scientists killed off in challenges, and then we were the replacements? And maybe in those past colonies, he didn't deliver food drops during the challenges. Or maybe it was Scientist 1's idea to drop 30 or more ants in the first challenge, and that killed the past queen, so she suggests not to do it again. Either way, it presents an interesting theory that the project included Ereptor queens just like ours that perished before making it to Formicarium Challenge 3, and Scientists 1 and 2 are learning from their past mistakes, which would support the cautious behavior from Scientist 1 during the first few challenges. That concludes the Empires of the Undergrowth Iceberg. I hope you found this video informative and entertaining. Like, subscribe, and comment for the algorithm gods. Go play Empires of the Undergrowth, and I'll see you all later.